the Arkansas Razorbacks. It's not gone great for John Calipari in his inaugural season there in Fayetteville. For Arkansas to make the tournament, they're minus 146. But to not make the tournament, they're at plus money, plus 112. We had Rob Doster on the show earlier tonight, and he said Razorbacks ain't going to have their name called on Selection Sunday. So pretty nice value right now, at least in Rob's mind, of them not making the big dance at plus 112. So I ask you, Ryan Horvat, in or out of the NCAA tournament with Arkansas?
I think last time we had this discussion, this conversation, I said they're going to slip in, man, but I don't know. I was looking like Lenardi right now has them as the first team left out. Watching them this weekend, they couldn't finish at the rim. 8 for 22 at the rim. They were 2 for 16 on layups. This team is just unimpressive, man. I think definitely the most disappointing team in the entire conference. They haven't won a game yet in the conference. Now, the schedule in the toughest conference and in all of America lightens up a little bit for the rest of the month. Not a single game in the SEC schedule that I could consider easy, though, man. So you look at the average KenPom rankings, though, 47.5 coming up here in the next 4 games. Average net rankings, 44.5. So they could get themselves right, starting tonight. They could sneak in, but I don't really feel good about them at 11-5 right now, 0-3 at SEC play. But you look at some of these matchups, man. They got killed by Tennessee, killed by Florida, 2 top 10 teams. So, yeah, right now I'm with Rob. I don't think Cal gets them in this year.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get in either. So here's the nitty gritty right now on Arkansas. Number 49, the net. Okay, not terrible, but not great either. 33rd strength of schedule. That is promising, and that's only going to climb because you're playing in the gauntlet that is the SEC. The good news is they have 8 more quadrant 1 opportunities. The bad news, they're only 1-5 against quadrant 1 opponents so far this year. They have no bad losses, no black eyes on the resume, also a plus. But these next 4 matchups, tonight LSU, can't have a hiccup there. Really can't have a hiccup at Missouri either. And then Georgia and Oklahoma. And Georgia's ranked. Oklahoma just fell out of the ranks. Both those games in Fayetteville. They got to go kind of on at least a 3-1 or 2-2 stretch these next 4 games to solidify their argument to possibly be in. Again, ample opportunity to boost the resume, 8 more quadrant runs on the horizon, but they got to start winning some games. All right, let's go to Louisville Cardinal. Again, they're up convincingly over 20 points on Syracuse on the road tonight. Minus 290, yes, to make the NCAA tournament. Plus 210, no, to make the NCAA tournament. So what's your take, in or out?
I think in, man. I think the the minus 290 makes sense. I think they're going to be a 9 seed. I like this team quite a bit. They've won 6 consecutive games. I believe that's the first time since they won 10 consecutive in 2020. 5 straight conference games. I like Chucky Hepburn, especially on the defensive end. So I would probably say it. I'm looking at it right now. KenPom 35th, Bartorovic 33rd, up 3 spots from last week. Couple quad 1 wins. I like Louisville quite a bit. I think they get in. I don't want to bet it at minus 290, but I do think they get in. I think they'll be a 9-10 seed.
I'll let you dunk, man. They're getting in. No question about it. I think they're going to be a single-digit seed. I think they're going to be in that 8-9 line when it's all said and done. You look at the nitty-gritty, number 33 in the net, number 4. Number 4 in strength of schedule, and that is key. They have challenged their kids. They played tough opponents. That's got to weigh a lot in the selection committee room. 3-5 against quadrant 1 competition. The downside is because of the league they play in, they only have 1 more quadrant 1 opportunity outside of the tournament. In that league. No bad losses. Next up, again, they're winning against Syracuse. You might as well count that one. Virginia stinks. They should be able to take that one at SMU and then Wake. So SMU may or may not be a quadrant 1 opportunity in the end. That's the downside of the ACC, but I think Louisville will definitely have a name called and likely going to be, like I said, on that 8-9 line. Let's go to Missouri. A team that is minus 120 to make the NCAA tournament, minus 108 not to make the NCAA tournament. It's almost split right down the middle, nearly even money on either side of the ledger there. So what's your take with the Tigers, in or out?
Oh, it's so tough in that conference, man, but I think this is a good team. 2-1 in conference play, 13-3 overall. Obviously, the schedule is going to get much tougher here, but they won their 2nd straight game in conference play. I liked what they did against Vandy. The only thing I worry about with them is free throws down the stretch because they get to the charity stripe. I think they actually lead the SEC. They do 28.6 attempts per game, but They're not really hitting them. 17-25 against Vandy. Luckily enough, they held on in that game, but they're only hitting 72% from the charity stripe. I like them on the offensive end, 28th in offensive efficiency, but that scares me about them making a run. I would lean, though, that they get in at minus 120.
Yeah, I think they're going to get in. I really do. Look, I got the eye test. I saw them there in the annual bragging rights game in St. Louis. Took Illinois down to the bitter end. They look like a tournament team. Number 34 in the net. They have an 80.4% chance of making the dance, according to Bart Torvik. Only number 85 in terms of strength of schedule, but obviously it's going to climb. You know why? They have 12 more. 12 more quad one opportunities. Hello, SEC. Only 1-3 against quad one so far. But once again, the meat and potatoes of that schedule, they're going to have to win some of those games, clearly. But at least they're going to have a chance. Resume. Next up, at Florida, at speed. Our home, got to win that one. At Texas, a winnable game there. And then Ole Miss. Ole Miss right now, 56-50 over Alabama on the road. 7:44 to go there in Tuscaloosa. But push comes to shove, I think the Missouri Tigers do get in. Let's go to Creighton out of the Big East. Minus 146 to make the dance, plus 112 not to make the dance. They're in action later tonight, taking on the Providence Friars at home there in Omaha. Hood hike. Obviously, they can't stub their toe in that game, but what's your take on Creighton, in or out?
Right there, like right now, I'd have them in there with Iowa, New Mexico, Texas Tech as the first four in. I actually kind of have liked what they've done here recently. Losing Pop Isaacs was huge because you don't have a true point guard on this roster. They got blown out by Georgetown. I was really worried. But then they beat Nova. They won a defensive battle against St. John's, who might not be as good as I thought. And then they covered against Marquette on the road and beat Butler. So I'd say in right now. I don't really want to lay minus 146 because they have been a little disappointing, but I think they're starting to round into form. So I say they do get in.
Yeah, I think they're going to get in. I mean, Ryan Kalkbrenner's a beast on both ends. He really is. The guard play has got to, play more consistently there, and I'm looking at Stephen Ashworth in particular. Yes. But they're number 54 in the net. They got a 60.4% chance of making the dance, according to Bart Torvik. 45 in strength of schedule. Big East is down. So it's not the strongest league, but they are 2-5 against quarter one competition. They're going to have 6 more quarter one opportunities. I think the magic number is probably 5. If they get to 5 quarter one victories, I think they're going to be able to get an at-large berth. No bad L's. Again, beat Providence. You're at UConn, at DePaul, Seton Hall. They could go 3-1 easily over this next stretch. Last one real quick, Villanova. They lost tonight at Xavier, plus 255 tonight, not to make the tournament, minus 360 to make the tournament. So what's your take on this one? Plus or minus odds?
You know what, man? I bet earlier this season that they would make the tournament. I don't feel good, especially after that loss tonight. Their quad one win was against UConn, but that was without McNeely. They win 68-66 for their first quad one win of the season. Then they lose on the road against St. John's. So I say no.
I say no as well. I think the Marquette game on the road is going to be critical. They got Providence and Georgetown in between. So a mountain to climb there for the Villanova Wildcats.